Here I am again. Uh, I was just talking to some friends, and I was mentioning again Jordan Hall and Daniel Schmachtenberger and Jamie Wheel and Jim Rutt and people like that. And the sense-making project in particular, the Civilization Research Institute and the Consilience Project, which I think is a fantastic project. Basically, they just want to create resources so that people can learn how to make sense of information that's coming at them from the media and from all sources. Because it's so easy to get stuck in our silos and to get stuck in environments where algorithms are throwing stuff at us all day long. And we basically get trapped in information bubbles, and we lose our ability to discern and figure out, what might be more true than something else, what might be factual, what might not be, so that people can have greater agency, become better decision makers, better communicators, become more sovereign, and participate better in democracy. So it's all really important stuff, I think. I wanted to show what they said about this definition of consilience, which I think is really interesting. Maybe you've never thought about this before, but consilience definition. In science and history, consilience is the principle that evidence from independent, unrelated sources can converge on strong conclusions. That is, when multiple sources of evidence are in agreement, the conclusion can be very strong, even when none of the individual sources of evidence is significantly so on its own. So I find that really interesting. And in their little executive summary, I think it's quite good. The world faces unprecedented catastrophic risk across the spectrum of finance, governments, ecological health, and global stability. To respond appropriately, leaders and citizens need increased capacities to make sense of what is happening in the world and to communicate and coordinate effectively. So I'll leave a link in the video description so you can read these pages yourself. But I was talking to a friend. My friend said, if these guys could just communicate in simpler ways, maybe they'd be more popular and people would catch on to their project and so on. And I was thinking, oh gosh, if that's the case, if we have to dumb down that far, then we're really in bad trouble, because we should be able to understand these people, because Daniel Schmachtenberger and Jamie Wheel, even though they refer to things that are very Western-centric, America-centric, and so on, that might not be familiar to a lot of people because you're outside of that culture, you're not interested in certain things. The cultural references can be obscure, but the language they use and their style of communication is stellar. It couldn't be more clear. Everything is very familiar to me because I've been thinking about these things for a long time, and I've kind of grown up in this milieu or environment. But one should be able to understand what they're saying and what they mean, and be able to, if it feels good, if it feels truthful and interesting and important, you should be able to, understand the message without understanding all of the cultural references. And a lot of times when they're, communicating, they're not, using jargon and cultural references all the time. So, it should be pretty straightforward. But we need projects like this, lots of them, So if you want to make your own, I would suggest doing it, because people really do have to get their sense-making abilities up to par, because things are moving more quickly or quicker now than they ever have in terms of the evolution of technology and science and just the global, economic and political landscape. It changes much more quickly now than it ever has, and culturally as well. So we have to be equipped to understand what's going on so that we can participate in shaping our world and our future. It's extremely important. So this is something that these people are doing. I think it's a really worthy project, something really worth watching and participating in. I just wanted to drop that on you and let you know that I think it's really cool. So anyway, I was going to say more, but I've lost the train. So anyhow, thank you, and Bouliam Tea out.